Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am joining in ABC April, which has been hosted by Seven Plaza and Crafty by Tony. I'm going to be doing the letter N for napkins, and I decided to cover some old, boring, not very nice buttons with the napkins to make them look really pretty. I've also made some paper buttons. So if you don't actually have any buttons, you can still make some. I'll show you how to do those after we've done the main buttons. Okay, so first of all, when I tried these, I initially tried covering like this red one with the white napkin from underneath, but it does leave quite a lot of messiness around the edges. So this one was just covered, it was a pale colour, so it was just covered by a single piece of napkin. But I experimented and found a method to paint it white first and then cover. I used Tipp-Ex or correction fluid, but you could use acrylic paint. I don't think using something like poster paint would work because it probably just wouldn't stay on very well. So the Tipp-Ex seems to work really well, and I'm sure acrylic paint would work. So let's get started. Here are some buttons that I have dug out of my huge stash. Either some that I've just got lots of, some that are not the nicest of colours, or they've got things written on that I wouldn't want to put onto something. This one's still got cotton through it. So we will start by doing one to paint. The advantage of using the Tipp-Ex is it dries really quickly. Well, this is Tipp-Ex Rapid. So just get a little cocktail stick just to help you hold it. And then just a bit further, just cover with the Tipp-Ex. You don't need to do the back, but you can do if you want to. Most of the time, if you're putting a button down, you're not going to see the back. You can see it's already actually drying, so it's really handy. Just got to make sure I've got all the pieces. Maybe not that much. I'm just going to poke that hole back through. Put way too much on there. That will get the inside of the little hole done as well. Okay, so we're going to give that a minute to dry while I choose a piece of napkin that I would like to go on this one. You do this little pink flower down here. You need to cut off a piece of napkin that's bigger than your button so that it can cover over the edges, and then we can just trim off the extra bits afterwards. Okay, this one's not going to come apart very easily. There we go. use it again. Right, I'm sure most of you have already done something similar to this using napkins, but just in case you're completely new, you'll need some PVA glue. As you can tell, this is literally just kids glue from a supermarket. It doesn't need to be fancy. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it as well to make it a bit runnier so it doesn't rip the napkins. There we go. Okay, I'm actually going to hold this one with my tweezers. Just put a coating of glue over the napkin. Don't worry too much about the holes at the moment, we can poke them back through afterwards. And then position your napkin with your design where you want it. There we go. And another coat. Really try and make sure you get the edges all the way down. Can you just go underneath a little bit? A little bit fiddly with these little buttons, but okay. I'm going to transfer that to one of these to dry off. I just have a bit of, I don't know if you can see this in the shop, a piece of polystyrene that I've just saved from a box, and then you can just put cocktail stick in like that. It's not my idea, I've seen it in many places. So. Okay, I'll do another one. Maybe give a big one a go this time. Depending on your napkin, some of these paler colours you won't need to cover first. If you've got a white button or a clear button, it does help the pattern show through if it's white rather than clear. This one was kind of clearish, whitish colour, and it does look quite nice, but you can only just see the pattern. I don't know if it'll be showing up on camera. Okay, I'll pick out another piece of napkin for this one. I have been through and cut up some pieces. I will take this opportunity to tell you, if you don't have napkins, then this is just a piece of paper towel, which is a nice green colour. This is a napkin from a coffee shop. Just pull the pieces apart so you have just the single piece. Obviously not the most interesting colours, but depending on what your project is, they might work quite well. That's actually quite a nice colour. Also, you can quite often pick them up in the party sections at supermarkets, and if you keep popping back occasionally, they'll be reduced to clear, particularly after Christmas. You get lots of Christmassy ones. I got some this year for 11p after Christmas. I've just got little gold stars on, which I thought would make nice pages. And then obviously you can travel around and pick up other ones. We try to see if we can fit a bee onto that. Came apart really nicely. I'm going to put something down to just cover my mat. It's not quite dry yet. Okay. To make some paper buttons, I'll show you some that I made. This is a really big one. And this was done by drawing around one of these glue pops. If you have loads of these, they're really good for putting glue in, for drawing around, for putting paint in, especially if you've got kids or grandkids. I use them for my granddaughter. Put the paint in or put the water in, and it's so much easier. Also, these are very useful. This is a tomato pasta sauce pot. I try to reuse as much as possible. So, okay, these ones have got little eyelets in. These were all done with my very old tool. My crocodile wouldn't reach these, and I do have another tool, and I only have a certain number of eyelets that work with that tool. But this one I just put a little hole in the top and made it into a little charm. You can hang on the end of a page or on your spine or anything else. Okay, this is one without any eyelets. I'm gonna see if you can see this one. So I just went around it with silver pen, and then I coated it in some nail varnish, which I'll talk about again later. Okay, this is another one that I went round with in gold. This one I backed onto a bit of sticky back magnet and coated it in the varnish as well. And this one has just had a little hole put into it and a little bulb pin. So you can use some book pages. I glued them together just to make them a bit thicker. Cereal boxes, Amazon packaging, just some scraps from my Wicked journal that I was making. Just glued them together again to make them a bit stronger. So if you have punches, you can use punches. You can go as big as you want depending on the punches. You can use your die cut machine if you have that. This will obviously do shapes. If you don't have punches, you don't have a die cut machine, just find something to draw around, or just draw a shape freehand if that's something you're also able to do. You could probably draw a heart quite easily. Let's see what we will do with these. I think I will make one this size. There we go. And maybe a plain one. And make a small one. Do a small one with this. There's a heart. Okay, like I say, if you don't have any punches or die cuts, just simply draw around something. I'm just thinking, actually, when I did them, the papery ones, I used two and I stuck them together, so they're actually double-sided, which you don't need to do, but I'll quickly go and do that now. Okay, you can double up the cardboard shapes as well if you want, depends on how thick you want your buttons to be, what you're going to use them for. If you were maybe going to use them as part of a closure, you might want them to be a bit more sturdy, but if you're putting them inside a book, then nice thin buttons will be really good for that. Okay, so we'll pick out some napkins. That one would go very nicely on there. Now this is obviously not as nice a colour, so painting this or covering it in some kind of paper first would probably be beneficial. I will grab some paper. Obviously with this one being quite big, I don't want to be covering it in Tipp-Ex, but if you're using acrylic paint, that should be fine. I'm going to leave that to just dry a moment. Okay, these ones we can cover with the Tipp-Ex. Cover them on both sides in case we do want to make them into little charms as well. Okay, so these ones I'm just going to glue together. I'm going to quickly just go around the edge of this. You could obviously just ink the edges, but you can still do that afterwards. some nice pieces. Might do that for the big one. Okay, this was the first one we did. I'm going to just poke the napkin through like so. You can see those. And then we can trim off this. And just add a little bit of glue over the top just to seal down those bits. Go, we'll leave that one drying again. You can, if you want, let me show you the ones I've already done. So if you take either just a nail file, or these often come with the ink daubers, and you can just kind of sand off any excess if you want it to be a bit neater. But I think with them being painted, you don't have all this bulk, so just tucking the napkin underneath is probably the easiest way to do that. Like with this one, it's kind of, let's see, it's kind of all coming away a little bit, so it's going to be a whole noise. Just sand it down. Okay, so I'm back. It's now tomorrow and the buttons have obviously dried. I went down for lunch and then my daughter came round with my grandson, so I ended up playing with them all day. Okay, so now these have dried off. You can cut off the excess napkin. So now that they are all done, I'm going to stand up to make sure that these are, you can see these. I'm going to put a little bit of glittery nail varnish on top, just to make them look a bit more sparkly and seal them. You can use Mod Podge, you can just use your PVA glue. Give this a shake because the glue stinks at the bottom. You could maybe use glitter glue. I haven't tried that. But quite often these glittery nail varnishes, you can pick them up quite cheaply. So it's quite a nice inexpensive way just to make it look put a little bit around the bottom as well, and that'll help make sure it doesn't come loose. So again, I'll cut off the excess. Keep that bit, I might be able to use it. I'm just going to experiment to see if it's easier with these bits, just to make a horrible noise. But if you're not very good with scissors, if you've got problems with your hands, this might be quite a good solution. So we can go now and stick pieces together, and then there. If you're just using it as a button that's going to be on something, you don't need to really cover the back, but I will put something on this just to cover it a little bit. But if you want to use them as charms, then you will want to put something on the back as well. You could cut out some scrapbook paper and use that instead. Okay, for these ones, we're going to ink around the edges. Or you can use marker pens, or you could use a black Sharpie as well, if black seemed more suitable. I'll show you one with the marker pen. Okay, so that's all the edges inked, and just neaten them up. I'm just going to squeeze them together. So the next thing for these ones is to put some kind of little eyelets or holes into them. For these really little ones, I have this sort of plier punch. I think that's what it's called. this mark on it where I want them to be. You can see that. And this just makes a really nice small little punched hole. Like so. And then I can go back in with the gold pen. I also have these little eyelet things. They are Fiskars ones. I don't know if they still make them. I got them a long time ago. But I have some of the eyelets that go with them. They do not work very well with these bigger eyelets with the longer shanks. You kind of really need to have, I can show you the difference maybe. Okay, so this is the Fiskars eyelets, and these are just more regular eyelets. And turn them sideways. That one's got quite a long shaft, and that one's short. So those long ones don't work with these. But the nice thing about it is I have these tiny, tiny little ones, and then these little medium-sized ones. So for this one, we can put in some little yellow ones. So again, I'm going to mark kind of where I want this. I have discovered that you can centre it on there. Okay. So I'll go, that's 1/4 inch from the centre, and for this one I actually do 4. Again, if I centre that along there, I can do 1/4. And then these holes aren't quite big enough. So widen them. Okay, then this one you just have to there we go. Obviously, if you don't have things like this, or this is just a standard cheap eyelet punch, and of course there's also the crocodile, but this one it will reach in the middle of this size. I did this bigger size originally, which it didn't reach the middle, which is why it's got the smaller one within. So with this one, I'll actually use the crocodile. I'm going to do this off camera. Okay, so that's a button with some big eyelets done. I will also show you how you can just use something like an awl. Or if you've maybe got a big embroidery needle, if you don't have an awl. And then again, should have done that way. Yeah, if you're doing it with an awl, punch from the front is probably best. There we go. And this one I'm going to make into a little charm, and this one as well. I'm just going to put a single hole at the top, and with this one I'm going to go down an angle, or let's do it straight. Okay, so that's all our paper buttons with eyelets. I should have probably, varnished them before. We'll do them afterwards. And we can just varnish them in the same way as the buttons. That one dry. Take the buttons off because they're done now. I'll show you this one just being varnished with our glue mixture, which is drying up a bit because it's been out since yesterday. So you're going to have to go careful around the eyelets now. The disadvantage of varnishing it up beforehand is it's harder to then punch through. And go around the edge as well to seal it in. this one with just the glue. You could obviously experiment with nail varnish with different coloured glitter if you've got different colours. We could do this one in pink. And also we have N for nail varnish, which gave me an idea of doing something else, using the nail varnish to actually decorate little charms and things. I think one advantage of using the nail varnish is it does dry relatively quickly compared to if you were using just glue or a varnish. I'll quickly show you the buttons now that they are dried. There we go. I really love the little bee ones. You can put another layer of varnish on if you wanted to make them a bit more shiny. Okay, so really quickly, let's have an experiment. This is going to be a bit of an experiment. I brought this one with some different colours. What we do, use this as a test run to see whether we can see the writing. Yeah, we can do. If I punch the hole in it, then I can hold it. Okay, so this is with the Amazon packaging. See whether this will cover it, see whether it's so thick. Okay, so let's have a look at all the ones that we have made. These are the buttons that I did on camera. These are the ones that I'd made yesterday. Stand up. Okay. think they look really, really good with the nail varnish on them. And then we have the two bigger buttons. Could use these in various ways. These are small buttons. Again, I think the varnish on them, I don't think it really shows up as well on the camera, but it looks really nice with the varnish. This is the two that don't have varnish, it's just with the glue. I think I'll maybe go over them with the varnish because I do think it looks nicer. And then I made all of these into little charms. These are the ones we did with the coloured nail varnish. I do like this one. And this was the little magnet that I made yesterday. I think the bee ones are just lovely. I really like those ones. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have fun trying out some of these ideas. So we did N for napkins and also ended up doing N for nail varnish in the end. If you have a go at making any, do tag me and let me know. That's my channel, Arda Designs. Thank you.